In the distant primordial past, the world existed in a state vastly different from the realm we inhabit today. It was an era shrouded in darkness, where the fundamental principles of kindness, compassion, and moral responsibility had been all but forgotten. Over time, humanity had become consumed by the corrosive forces of selfishness, greed, and cruelty. Societies crumbled under the weight of corruption, and violence reigned supreme. This moral decline cast the world into a somber and shadowy place, a bleak landscape where it seemed that even the concept of goodness had withered away. Observing this dismal state of affairs from the lofty vantage point of the heavens was the divine presence of God. The omniscient Creator watched as humanity, his own creation, spiraled into chaos. His heart grew heavy with sorrow and profound disappointment. This was not the world he had envisioned, a world where love and justice would flourish. Yet, amidst this pervasive darkness, there emerged a solitary figure whose virtuous nature set him apart from the rest of his kin. His name was Noah. Unlike the masses around him, Noah was a man of exceptional kindness and moral integrity. He lived a life of devotion, caring deeply for his family and practicing righteousness in a world that had lost its way. Noah was, in every sense, a beacon of light in the midst of darkness. His unshakable faith in God and his dedication to leading a life in accordance with divine principles did not go unnoticed. The watchful eye of God had singled out Noah as a man worthy of a higher purpose. God saw in Noah a rare heart that remained pure, even as the world around him decayed. God informed Noah of a grand and terrifying plan, a cataclysmic flood that would cleanse the earth of its corruption. The world had grown too wicked, and a great purging was necessary to restore balance. Yet, in recognition of Noah's piety and virtue, God wished to spare him and his family from the coming destruction. Thus, he commanded Noah to construct a mammoth vessel, an ark, which would house not only Noah's family, but also 2 specimens of every creature that roamed the earth. This ark would be their salvation, protecting them from the devastation to come. Noah, though bewildered by the magnitude of the task before him, obeyed God without question. His neighbors, friends, and even extended family ridiculed him for what seemed to them an absurd and pointless endeavor. Day by day, Noah and his sons labored under the scorching sun, building the ark plank by plank, nail by nail. The mockery and scorn from the townspeople were relentless. They saw Noah as a fool, a madman for wasting his life on what they considered a nonsensical project, but Noah's faith in God was unshaken. He knew that while they could not see what was coming, the flood would be real. As the ark neared completion, a truly miraculous event took place. Animals from all corners of the earth began to arrive in pairs. Lions, elephants, giraffes, birds of every color, and insects all found their way to Noah's ark as if guided by an unseen force. The sight was awe-inspiring, a display of harmony amidst the chaos of a broken world. Noah and his family marveled as these creatures, who in the wild would have been natural enemies, coexisted peacefully within the confines of the ark. Then, the moment came. The skies darkened ominously, and the first drops of rain began to fall. At first, it was a gentle drizzle, but soon it turned into a torrential downpour unlike anything the world had ever witnessed. The rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights without pause. Rivers overflowed, oceans surged, and the waters rose, swallowing entire cities and civilizations. The earth was submerged, and all living beings outside the ark perished. It was a judgment upon a corrupt world, but within the ark, Noah, his loved ones, and the menagerie of creatures remained safe and dry, sheltered from the tempest that raged outside their wooden sanctuary. The ark drifted upon the endless waters for many months. Noah, ever the faithful servant of God, waited patiently for a sign that the floodwaters were receding. One day, he released a raven from the ark, but it returned without news. Days later, he sent out a dove, and when it returned carrying a fresh olive leaf in its beak, Noah knew that the waters were abating and that life was beginning to bloom anew on earth. After more waiting, the ark finally came to rest on the mountains of Ararat, and Noah and his family stepped out onto dry land. What lay before them was a world transformed. The earth was cleansed, its corrupt inhabitants gone, and it was now a blank canvas, a chance for a fresh start. Noah and his family stood upon the soft, muddy ground, breathing in the fresh air of a world reborn. The animals, too, left the ark and began to repopulate the earth. It was a moment of renewal, a new chapter for creation. In this moment of triumph and new beginnings, God spoke to Noah once more, making a solemn and eternal promise. Never again would he unleash a flood of such catastrophic proportions upon the earth. As a sign of this divine covenant, God placed a radiant rainbow in the sky, a symbol of hope, mercy, and divine protection. The rainbow was a reminder that while the world had been judged, it had also been given a second chance, and God's enduring love for his creation remained steadfast. Thus, the story of Noah became a timeless tale of faith, obedience, and the promise of redemption. It serves as a reminder to all generations that even in the darkest of times, there is always a path to salvation for those who walk in righteousness. As Noah and his family stood on the renewed earth, the weight of their responsibility began to settle in. They were not merely survivors of a great catastrophe. They were the pioneers of a new human chapter. The world had been cleansed, but with that cleansing came a sacred duty: to build a society grounded in righteousness, compassion, and respect for God's creation. Noah, as the patriarch, understood the gravity of this responsibility. His sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, alongside their wives, would bear the task of repopulating the earth and laying the foundation for future civilizations. They would be tasked with ensuring that the mistakes of the past, the corruption and violence that had led to the flood, would not be repeated. Noah, deeply moved by the experience of witnessing both God's wrath and mercy, built an altar upon the new land to honor the Creator. He offered sacrifices to God, a gesture of gratitude for sparing his family and the animals that would once again roam the earth. God, pleased with Noah's faithfulness, accepted the offering. It was in this moment that God reaffirmed his covenant, not just with Noah, but with all living creatures. The rainbow, spanning the sky in vibrant colors, stood as a visible reminder that despite the wickedness that once plagued the earth, God's promise of mercy and protection would endure. But this new beginning also carried the seed of potential challenges. Noah's family, now the sole human presence on earth, faced the daunting task of establishing moral order. The descendants of Noah would spread across the globe, giving rise to nations and peoples. Yet human nature, with its capacity for both great good and great evil, would continue to be tested. The story of Noah's flood became a lasting testament to the delicate balance between divine justice and grace. A story that would be told for generations as a reminder of the consequences of turning away from righteousness and the hope of redemption that always remains.